Biomarkers matter, providing options for people with cholangiocarcinoma. Every part of your body is made up of different types of cells. Each type of cell has distinct features, molecules that can be measured in tissue, blood, or other bodily fluids. These are called biomarkers. Cancer cells have damaged genes that cause the cells to go rogue. This can alter the distinguishing features of these cells in various ways. It can also impact how these cells operate within the body and how the body reacts in response to these rogue cells. Cancer biomarkers are produced either by tumor cells or by other cells in the body reacting to a tumor. You might also hear them called tumor markers or driver mutations. In cholangiocarcinoma, cancer biomarkers may be diagnostic, prognostic, or predictive. They each offer important clues that can help direct your care. Diagnostic biomarkers may signal the presence of cholangiocarcinoma. Prognostic biomarkers give you and your doctor a sense for how your cancer might progress. And predictive biomarkers help to determine which treatments are most likely to be effective for your individual cancer and which may not work for you. For example, if you have cholangiocarcinoma, you may have a type of biomarker called a mutation that is fueling your cancer. Knowing your mutations will tell your doctor if you're a candidate for a targeted therapy, a kind of treatment designed to home in on cells with a specific mutation while causing less harm to normal cells. Other biomarkers could indicate that you would benefit from an immunotherapy, a type of treatment that uses the power of your own immune system to treat your cancer. Some of the same biomarkers seen in cholangiocarcinoma are also seen in other cancers that have their own approved therapies. Depending upon which biomarkers you have, you may qualify for a clinical trial studying whether these therapies are effective in cholangiocarcinoma. That's why your biomarkers matter. So ask your doctor early on about biomarker testing. You may hear it called genomic testing, tumor testing, or molecular profiling. A tissue or blood sample is needed for testing. So if you're having a biopsy, ask your doctor to collect enough tissue for biomarker testing as well. Over time, if a drug stops working or your cancer returns, that may mean your tumor cells have become resistant to that drug. At that point, a second biomarker test may be needed to understand how your tumor has changed. This could identify new biomarkers that may be targets for treatment. A message from the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation. Learn more at biomarkersmatter.org. You and your doctor are a team in your care. This video is for informational purposes only and is not intended to be a substitute for medical advice. Talk with your doctor to decide the right course of treatment for you.
Good morning from beautiful Salt Lake City, Utah. We know it is afternoon, evening, or even the early hours of the morning for many of you. We're so pleased to have you join us today. My name is Stacie Lindsey. I'm the president and CEO of the Cholangiocarcinoma Foundation, and we welcome you to the 7th annual conference. Today is day 2. Yesterday was the patient-focused day of the conference, and it was a full day. Patients had a good overview of both the clinical and scientific landscapes and saw presentations on several other subjects chosen specifically for them by them. The chat rooms were full during both the clinical and scientific overviews, and the patients had a wonderful opportunity to get many of their questions answered. It was a great day. Today and tomorrow are the scientific sessions. We are grateful for the support we have had for this year's conference, and we feel particularly blessed and want to acknowledge the flexibility of our chairs, presenters, sponsors, staff, and the many volunteers who have been working hard behind the scenes to make sure the conference goes smoothly. We have heard from many patients and caregivers, colleagues, and partner organizations about how disappointed they are that we can't be together in person this year. We hear you. And we want you to know that it's heartbreaking for us not to be with you in person. We are more than just a group of stakeholders. In this community, we are family. If we all lived in the same place, I think you know that I would be the one knocking at your window with my mask on, giving you a big virtual hug and dropping off some homemade cookies. We truly miss being with you in person, and we hope that we will be able to be together again soon. Today, we are counting our blessings that we can be together via technology. The platform has allowed us to do some things that we never thought possible. For instance, we're welcoming more than 1,600 registered guests. This is almost triple the number of participants we had in person in Salt Lake City last year. Many of the registered attendees live outside the U.S. and would not otherwise be able to attend the conference. Many patients and caregivers do not feel well enough to travel and will be able to view the conference in the comfort of their own homes, and for this we are grateful. We extend to each of you a very warm welcome, especially to those of you who have never been able to join us at the conference before. Attendees are from 44 countries and represent 49 of the 50 states in the U.S. There are well over 800 patients and caregivers, more than 350 clinicians and researchers, over 360 industry or sponsor-related attendees, and dozens of attendees from various associations, nonprofits, and regulatory bodies. We are absolutely thrilled to have such a diverse and global group joining us this year. Our world has been turned upside down in the last few months. I'm not sure many of us have ever experienced such a diversity of issues and pressing concerns that demand such a significant amount of our attention and time. It has also been a time in which many of us are experiencing a substantial variety of heavy emotions. It seems sometimes that time is going by so fast, and yet time has seemed to slow down significantly, especially for those of us who are used to traveling frequently. One of the things that I think we have all been experiencing during this time is an increased amount of personal reflection. What has been the result of your personal reflection? I'll share with you a few of mine. Oftentimes when we have the opportunity to step back, or in this case, when we are forced to step back for a period of time, the results of our reflection give us an opportunity to slingshot forward. That's what I hope will happen as a result of this time. A colleague from another nonprofit recently told me that she admires CCF because she said we were willing to take chances. I had to think about that a little bit. We have taken a lot of chances. We've taken chances on small and emerging industry and biotech partners. We've taken chances on young but innovative researchers and clinicians, and we've taken chances with brand new and sometimes unproven technologies and companies. I was grateful for her comment because I hadn't really thought about it in that context before. I said thank you to her, and then I replied, maybe we take chances because we have nothing to lose and everything to gain. CCF will continue to take chances if that means that we can move forward in innovative and often disruptive ways, if we can continue to change the trajectory of this disease in meaningful ways. I believe this is a community that has to take chances. We have to be innovators, we have to think differently, and we have to do things differently. We simply cannot look at cholangiocarcinoma in the way it has been looked at in the past if we want to explore and bring new groundbreaking solutions to patients. The patients are depending on us, and they are expecting us to do everything we can. And that means more than ever that this clinician and scientific community, this professional community, this community of stakeholders has to pull together in a united and global way. We have to pool our data, we have to share our resources and expertise, and we have to consistently flush out and bring to the forefront our very best ideas. That means that we will all have to take risks, but we have to take the right kinds of risks. The right kind of risk that looks at the space in which we are currently living professionally and asks questions like, how can we work in a space where no one else is currently working? What new hypotheses can we consider? And what kind of new collaborations or partnerships are available to us? What are the most important questions that we need to be asking right now? And who can we work with to get to the answers? And maybe the most important question of all is, how can we stop competing and start creating? Clayton Christensen, who is a Harvard professor and one of the most respected and innovative business professionals, said, amateurs compete while professionals create. I love this because I believe that at our very core, we are all creators. We are certainly professionals, but we have been put into a competitive space with predetermined rules, and we have moved forward oftentimes in the same way as those that came before us. I have never seen the point or any advantage to institutions, companies, or nonprofits competing in a space where we are dealing with a rare form of cancer. I'm a huge proponent of collaboration. It is one of CCF's founding values and is a trait we look for in every partner, every researcher, and every opportunity that comes to us. CCF does not compete. We don't compete because we are focused on being creators. We will create a path if one is not already available to us. We will create a relationship if there isn't already one established. and we will create a way around if a door is closed to us. We do not have another choice because there is an urgency to this work that we simply cannot ignore. We cannot wait for someone else to illuminate the path ahead. We have to create the path and help others navigate it. This is an extraordinarily collaborative and innovative community. This year, we have seen extraordinary results coming out of a variety of these efforts, and we are very proud of the work that has been done by those involved. I'm just going to name a few. 3 companies from our industry council in coordination with the FDA are working on a groundbreaking clinical trial, which has the potential to change the face of clinical trials in the rare cancer and rare mutation space. This is a truly exciting opportunity. There are multiple efforts ongoing with engaged clinicians and scientists within the ICRN. Some of these will undoubtedly fail, and we will learn and grow and figure out a better way because that's what creators do. And some of these efforts will succeed far beyond our expectations. We are looking forward to these with great anticipation. You will be hearing from Nikki Schultz later on in the program about a collaborative project being funded by CCF that will create new pioneering research opportunities globally through CBioPortal. Our partner Citizen announced yesterday that they have created a new clinical trial finder for cholangiocarcinoma patients. This has been another collaborative effort with CCF that is so advanced it has blown us away. We are so excited for the patients to be able to take advantage of this new tool. These are just a few of the things that we've been working on this year. There are many more to come. However, in our efforts to create, I want you to know that CCF will never be about building an organization for the organization's sake. We will grow to meet the needs of the patients and the community of stakeholders that require our help to move forward. As long as we can continue to assist this community to make a significant and consistent impact in the lives of cholangiocarcinoma patients across the world, we are committed to stay engaged and make a difference wherever we can, and we invite you to join us in our efforts. On a personal note, I want to thank Dr. Rashna Shroff from University of Arizona and Dr. Jesus Benales from San Sebastian, Spain. They are the chairs for this year's conference and have been fantastic to work with. It is a huge commitment to put together a conference of this size, and it's a bit daunting when it has to pivot to a virtual format, which none of us have ever done before. So I want to give them special thanks for all of their help and support. We are so pleased with the quality of presentations and presenters this year, and we're really looking forward to the next 2 days. I want to give you a few foundation-specific updates. We've had a few leadership changes in the last 6 months, and we want to thank those who have served so well for so long. We first want to thank Dr. Milind Jable from MD Anderson for his service as the chair of the ICRN for the past 5 years. His leadership has been nothing short of outstanding. He has been a true ambassador for the foundation and is a highly skilled collaborator. He is always thinking about the patients first, and we are so grateful for his service. We also want to welcome Dr. Mitesh Borad from Mayo Clinic, Arizona, and Dr. Nilo Azad from Johns Hopkins as the new chair and vice chair for the ICRN. We look forward to their leadership and to working with them on expanding the reach and impact of ICRN initiatives. We also want to thank Sue Acquisto for her fantastic leadership of the Nursing Advisory Board for the past 5 years. Sue has been a tireless advocate and professional. She has led the NAB to do groundbreaking expert work which has impacted the care of cholangiocarcinoma patients globally. It has been a true pleasure to travel and work with her these many years. Thank you, Sue. We welcome Lorraine Drapick from MGH and Karen Driscoll from ORMC, who will take over as chair and vice chair of the NAB. We look forward to supporting their continuing work and the initiatives that we will be working on in the coming years. We also want to announce a few changes within our CCF staff that have happened over the last 6 months. Donna Meyer has been the executive director of the foundation for the last 6 years. She has been my rock, and her professional and conscientious work has been an enormous blessing to us all. We could not have done what has been done in the last 6 years without her. Donna has recently retired, but will stay on staff working on special projects. We welcomed Allie Ward as the new Chief Operations Officer, replacing Donna, Laura Nat as the Chief of Communications and Development, and Isabel Gardet as the new Director of Corporate and Industry Relations. We hope you will give them a warm welcome. We are very excited to have them join our staff. I want to take a minute to acknowledge and thank our sponsors. They have been incredibly supportive, and this conference would not have been possible without them. At the Sequoia level, Insight and QED Therapeutics. At the Oak level, Agios, AstraZeneca, Merck GSK, Taiho Oncology, and Zymeworks. At the Cedar level, Debiopharm, Foundation Medicine, and Genentech. At the Maple level, Bristol Myers Squibb, Basilea, Caris, Fujifilm, Lexicon Pharmaceuticals, Merck, Nucana, PCI Biotech, Redhill Biopharma, and Tempus. We would also like to thank the NIH for their continued support. You can learn more about our sponsors by visiting their booths in the exhibit hall. They have created patient-friendly materials and videos for you to view, and many of them have chat rooms available where you can ask questions. The information in the exhibit hall will be open through the entire conference. I want to share with you a few quick tips that will assist you as you navigate the conference website. You will notice on the home page of the website there is a green banner across the top. Inside this green banner are a bunch of different tabs. There's a tab there called Lounge, and in the Lounge you can meet other attendees and chat with them. You can do this through all of the conference. You'll also see a tab called CCF Resource Center. In this area you will find all the materials that you can download, print, or share from CCF. You will find the most up-to-date agenda and conference information there. You will also find educational materials, a link to our free ebook, information about CholangioConnect and other foundation programs, and much more. Under the Posters tab on the conference website, you will find 10 patient-friendly posters and 32 scientific posters, which are available for viewing throughout the entire conference. The posters have chat areas, so you can enter your questions there when you view them, and the poster presenters will answer your questions. We hope you'll take a few minutes to visit our 10 partner booths, where you can learn more about our collaborations with like-minded organizations. You can find their booths under the Exhibit tab if you scroll down to the bottom. Please take a minute to visit CCF's Fun Team booth at the very top of the Exhibit tab. You can go there and participate in a variety of games and activities which are listed on the top right of that page in green. You will not want to miss the videos under the lip sync battle, as several of your colleagues have participated, and you'll want to stop by and see those. There are a lot of ways to win prizes over the next 2 days. While this is a serious scientific conference, we also want to have some fun together, and we know many of you are experiencing Zoom fatigue with all of the virtual meetings. So the more you engage virtually, the greater your opportunity to win items, including all kinds of gift certificates, gift baskets, and CCF swag. I hope you'll update your profile on the conference website with your picture, bio, and any social media links so others can identify you and get connected during the conference. You can do this by clicking your initials in the upper right corner. If you need any technical help, just click the Help tab and we will jump right in to assist you. I want to remind you that technical support is available 30 minutes before the sessions start in the morning, and they are available all the way through to the last presentation of the day. If you do not receive help immediately through the help desk, please send an email to rick@cholangiocarcinoma.org. Right before the beginning of my talk, you saw a new video called Biomarkers Matter. Biomarkers is the new umbrella term that advocacy organizations in the US will be using to describe what we have previously referred to as molecular profiling, genomic sequencing, NGS testing, etc. As professionals, you know that there are many terms to describe this kind of testing, and none of these terms are wrong. They all describe the same thing. However, the variation in terminology was identified as a significant stumbling block for patients. In a year-long collaborative process, including the participation of dozens of advocacy groups, medical professionals, associations, regulatory bodies, and industry partners, the biomarker testing terminology was determined to be the most correct, descriptive, and helpful for patients. You can see the results of this year-long process in a recently published white paper in the resources section of the conference website. So what does this mean? It means that we are asking you to refer to this as biomarker testing when you are communicating with patients. This is the terminology we will be using both internally and externally from now on, and you will see advocacy rolling out nationally about this collaborative effort to help patients understand the importance of biomarker testing. The video was produced in collaboration with D2 Creative and Mill Pond Communications with generous support from Bayer. We hope you will use these resources in your institutions to help educate your patients. Now you are going to have an opportunity to view a very special tribute video we put together for a unique and much loved member of this community, Dr. Supriya Saha. After the tribute video, we will hear from Tori Newmeyer, a cholangiocarcinoma patient, and then we will take a short break before the scientific sessions begin.
There's no other way to put it, but Shoup's work revolutionized our understanding of mutant IDH cholangiocarcinoma.
Shoup had outstanding abilities, and we were fortunate that he chose to focus on cholangiocarcinoma.
And to this day, I still remember his warm smile and kind personality during my first interview with him.
Getting the opportunity to collaborate with him, especially early and before we had a true validation and understanding of the disease, was just a remarkable time in my career scientifically. Being able to see science that was coming through that felt real, and it felt like it had the opportunity to truly give patients hope and a chance.
I had the pleasure working with Shu when he was a fellow and subsequently a junior faculty at Mass General Hospital. I think we're all indebted to Shu for his several seminal contributions, including the creation of the first transgenic mouse model with the IDH-driven phenotype.
He became interested in the disease during his clinical oncology fellowship when he was treating a young man with cholangiocarcinoma with an IDH1 mutation. Shoup immediately began considering where he could have the greatest impact as a scientist. He concluded that there was a major need for more study of cholangiocarcinoma and for understanding the mystery of IDH. This was quite a bold and independent choice, because entering the cholangiocarcinoma field was certainly a road less traveled among his peers. In the lab, Shoup did a great deal of important work. He was also an inspiring mentor to those who worked under him and a compassionate doctor for his patients. He was excited to start his own laboratory in Seattle to discover and test new treatments for patients with cholangiocarcinoma.
And throughout almost 2 years working with Shoup, I admired and respected him even more because I learned so much from him. And Shoup was also my go-to person for professional development. He has given me so many valuable advice on my medical school application and throughout my journey as a medical student.
I remember texting him last year after Salt Lake and saying, "Shoup, everybody's asking about you, everybody misses you, and they all wish you a very rapid recovery." And he said, "Next year, Lippy, I hope to be there next year." I met him during residency at the Brigham. He was my intern and I was his resident. And I still remember he was on a plane all to his own from the very beginning. Other interns would show up to rounds 10 minutes late because they were still pre-rounding. They'd be all harried, they were trying to keep their papers together, but not Shoup. Shoup showed up 5 minutes early, cool, calm, and collected, and with that smile, that classic Shoup smile that just put everybody at ease.
Having worked with him for a number of years, when I hear his name, it's just two things immediately come to mind, and they're just very warm memories, and I hope that you feel it too. But his smile, if you knew him, could light up a room. It was one of those just charismatic smiles that could make the room just feel warm, but it fit him because he was so gracious, and his smile reflected that, as did his laugh. And if you knew him and you shared laughs with him, then you know what I mean. He had a very distinct laugh, and I loved it. It was just him. And I'll always remember those two things about him on a personal level. So,
when you think about Shu, this is a brilliant man, but with humble demeanor as well. He was a prolific physician scientist, but he was always generous with his time and expertise to his colleagues.
Shoup's support and guidance has helped me get to where I am today, and even though he had passed, his professional and personal impact on my life will continue to shape and hone my personality and my future career as a physician. And I will remember and miss him forever.
On a more personal note, there was something that I learned about Shoup during fellowship that surprised me. He was always so calm and soft-spoken, and so I was surprised when I learned that Shoup can dance. You can really dance. We used to go to this club in fellowship, a bunch of us as fellows, called Saint, and it was in Boston. And he used to love to dance to hip-hop. and he could really groove and move, and he had so much rhythm and soul, as he did in every aspect of his life. But it was really fun to see that side of Shoop, and it was very much like Shoop, where he would just surprise you with these hidden talents that he had. On a final note, I will just share that I was reminded of Shoop recently when I read a story about Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein was on tour in Japan in 1922, and he had recently heard that he won the Nobel Prize. And a bellboy came to his hotel to deliver a message, and Albert Einstein didn't have any money for a tip. So instead, he wrote him a note on his theory of happiness, and this note recently sold for more than $1.5 million. What did that note say? Albert Einstein wrote, "A calm and modest life brings more happiness than the pursuit of success combined with constant restlessness." Shoop had this wisdom. Shoop lived this wisdom. He lived a calm and modest life as a calm and modest man. He loved his wife and his son. He loved his friends. He loved his work. He brought a zeal and a passion and a quiet confidence and energy to everything that he did. He had a grace and generosity, and he took a lot of joy in helping people. And I think this is why he had a deep happiness that he radiated wherever he went. Shoop has left a tremendous legacy in the field of cholangiocarcinoma with all of his dedicated efforts, and he's left deep footprints on all of our hearts. Shoop was unrepeatable. We will really miss you, Shoop.
You have heard some beautiful tributes about Dr. Supriya Saha, lovingly called Shoop by his friends and colleagues. Shoop was a gifted scientist and clinician. I remember the very first time that I heard him make a scientific presentation, I knew that we needed to get connected with him. He became one of the first recipients of a CCF Fellowship Award. He was a young and energetic scientist who focused much of his lab-based efforts on finding a cure for cholangiocarcinoma. He helped Agios develop a targeted treatment for patients with an IDH mutation and was soon after funded to set up a cholangiocarcinoma-focused lab at the Fred Hutchinson Center in Washington. Internally, we called this the Shoop effect. It's exactly the pattern that we want to see over and over again. We want to identify and provide seed funding for the best ideas and the most talented scientists and clinicians, and we want them to go on to discovery, bigger publications and bigger funding opportunities, all of which help us get better treatments to patients. But Shoop was not just an intelligent and dedicated scientist. He was also a thoughtful and kind clinician. In my personal interactions with him, I found him to be one of the most light-filled, kind-hearted, and friendly people I have ever met. I never saw him without a smile. Shoop was an active participant in our very first conference, and as such was a vital part of this community. Shoop passed away earlier this year, and so many of you joined us in expressions of grief and loss for his family and his colleagues. But this was also an enormous loss for the cholangiocarcinoma community. We are hopeful that more Shoop-like young investigators and clinicians will find a passion for cholangiocarcinoma and will join us in our efforts. It is our desire to honor Shoop and all that he stood for. So today I am announcing that CCF will be funding a Remembering Shoop Research Fellowship Award. We are very pleased to announce that Agios has stepped up and put $10,000 into this fund. We all know that as stakeholders, we have to invest in intelligent, young, innovative scientists and clinicians if we are going to move the science forward and bring new treatments to patients just as Shoop did. The impact of Shoop's science and clinical work will never be forgotten. And we hope that this new fellowship in his honor will help us attract the brightest and best. So many of our friends and colleagues have asked us what they can do to honor him, and we would invite you to make a contribution to the Remembering Shoop Research Fellowship Fund at the link at the bottom of this screen. We're so grateful for the impact that Shoop made on us as individuals and as a community of stakeholders, and we hope that we can increase that impact by funding this research fellowship in his honor. Thank you, Shoop.